What if I told you that one of the greatest investment tools ever created was initially called the sure path to mediocrity? What if this same tool, mocked by Wall Street, would go on to make more ordinary people wealthy than almost any other product in history? It sounds like a movie plot, but it's the true story of an investment that completely changed the game. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this one invention is probably the single most important thing you need to know about building wealth. It all starts with a man named John Bogle. Now, Bogle wasn't your typical Wall Street titan. He was an idealist. He had this radical idea that the financial industry was fundamentally broken. Think about it. Back in the day, if you wanted to invest in the stock market, you had two main options. You could try to pick individual stocks yourself, which is incredibly difficult and risky, or you could pay a professional fund manager a hefty fee to do it for you. These managers would promise to beat the market, to use their genius to pick winning stocks and sell the losers. The problem? Bogle discovered something shocking in his research. The vast majority of these highly paid, brilliant fund managers didn't beat the market. In fact, after you subtracted their high fees and trading costs, most of them actually underperformed. You were paying a premium for someone to lose your money, or at least make less of it than the market average. It was like hiring a celebrity chef to cook you a meal, paying a fortune for it, and then getting a burnt microwave dinner. It made no sense. Bogle thought, what if we just stop trying to beat the market? What if we just become the market? Instead of paying a manager to pick a few dozen stocks they hoped would win, what if you could just own a tiny piece of all the biggest companies? If the market as a whole goes up, you go up. No genius stock picking required. No high fees for a manager who probably wasn't going to beat the average anyway. The goal wasn't to hit a home run. The goal was simply to get on base, every single time. This was the birth of the index fund. In 1976, Bogle launched the very first one available to the public. It was called the First Index Investment Trust, later renamed the Vanguard 500 Index Fund. Its mission was simple. It would track the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is just a list of the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the United States. Think Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google. So, when you bought a share of this fund, you were instantly buying a tiny slice of all 500 of those companies. You were diversified across the entire American economy in one single purchase. The reaction from Wall Street was brutal. They called it Bogle's folly. They said it was un-American to just settle for average. A competitor even ran ads with the slogan, "Who wants to be average?" They laughed at it. The initial offering was a huge disappointment, raising only $11 million, far short of its $150 million goal. The experts all agreed it was a failure. But Bogle held on. He knew he was onto something. He believed that over the long run, the simple math would win. Low costs plus market returns would eventually beat high costs plus a manager's best guess. And he was right. Oh, was he right? Let's look at a real-world example. Let's imagine two friends, Sarah and Tom, who both started investing in 1990. They each had $10,000 to start. Tom, being a traditionalist, gives his money to a popular, actively managed fund. The fund manager is a star, featured in magazines, and charges a 1.5% annual fee, which was pretty standard. Sarah, after hearing about Bogle's idea, decides to put her $10,000 into a simple S&P 500 index fund with a very low fee, let's say 0.1%. They both just leave their money alone. No more contributions, just letting it grow. For the first few years, Tom's fund might have a good run. The manager makes a few smart picks, and Tom feels great. He's beating Sarah. He's paying for expertise. And it's working. But then a few bad years hit. The manager's hot streak cools off. Meanwhile, Sarah's fund just keeps chugging along, matching the market's ups and downs. It's never spectacular, but it's never a disaster either. It's just average. Now, Let's fast forward 30 years to 2020. Tom checks his account. His $10,000, even after some good years and bad years, has grown nicely. But the 1.5% fee he paid every single year, year after year, acted like a constant drag on his returns. That fee didn't seem like much, but over 3 decades, it compounded against him. Sarah, on the other hand, checks her account. Her 0.1% fee was almost negligible. The tiny cost drag on her investment was so small it was barely noticeable. The difference is staggering. While the exact numbers depend on specific market returns, it's very likely Sarah would have hundreds of thousands of dollars more than Tom. All because she chose the mediocre path. The path of not trying to be a hero. She let the power of the market do the heavy lifting, while Tom paid a huge portion of his potential gains to someone who, over the long term, couldn't consistently outperform that very market. This is the hidden genius of the index fund. It's not about being average. It's about capturing the full power of market growth without giving a huge slice of it away to middlemen. It weaponizes compounding in your favor, instead of letting fees compound in someone else's. This single idea has saved investors, not millions, but trillions of dollars in fees over the decades. Trillions. It has democratized investing, taking it from the hands of the Wall Street elite and giving it to anyone with a few dollars to spare. Think about the psychological shift this creates. Before the index fund, investing felt like a casino. You had to bet on the right manager, the right stock, the right timing. It was stressful and intimidating. The index fund turns investing into a systematic, almost boring process. And in investing, boring is beautiful. It's about owning the entire haystack instead of searching for the one magic needle. Today, Bogle's folly is the bedrock of modern retirement planning. Trillions of dollars are invested in index funds worldwide. Even Warren Buffett, arguably the greatest stock picker of all time, has famously said that for most people, a low-cost S&P 500 index fund is the best investment they can make. He has even directed the trustee of his own will to put 90% of the money he leaves for his wife into one. Think about that. The best active investor in history recommends a passive approach for his own family. So, the next time you hear someone on TV yelling about the next hot stock, or a genius fund manager who can beat the market, remember the story of John Bogle. Remember the simple, powerful idea that you don't have to be a genius to win at investing. You just have to be disciplined. You just have to own the market and let time do its work. The revolution wasn't loud or flashy. It was quiet. It was mathematical. And it changed everything. If you found value in this story, the best way you can support this channel is to share it with one person you think needs to hear it. And make sure you subscribe, because what we've talked about today is just the beginning. There's another layer to this that almost no one talks about, and it's what separates good investors from truly wealthy ones. We'll explore that next.